Okay, Shalom Ubracha. Nice to be back. Shechianu v'kiyamanu, Chicago. Baruch Hashem. We have to start off with a joke as usual. So the joke is like this: that a wife calls her husband, and he says, "Yes, dear." She says, "Hi, honey. Please tell me a joke." And he says, "Honey, I'm in the middle of Kolel now. We have a joke." And she says, "Right now, okay. Tell me another joke, please." Baruch Hashem. Simcha. Okay. So before we start, just a perspective of what's happened. The world has been a bit shaken this past over a month already. It's been over a month. So many Rabbanim are giving hashkafic perspectives of what to do. For sure, there's an abundance of tshuva and davening and tzedakah and all these things that we know we're doing. But there's also a message here that from Rebbe Nachman's teachings, you can see something clearly. Just 1 second here. The broadcast is not it's not connecting. Unbelievable. 1 second. Okay, we lost it. So what's a hashkafic thing to take a look when you see what happened here? Just going back to the incident, it took place on Simchas Torah. And when in Simchas Torah? Mamash, when you hear the stories of what happened, 6:30 in the morning, 6:35. You hear the people that are telling that by the kibbutzim and by that festival, the Nova festival, 6:30. That is what was that time? That was Netz. Netz in Yerushalayim on Simchas Torah 6:36. The time that the Arabs, these Mechablim came in was around the time of Netz. Okay, what's the idea of that? On one point, Hoshana Rabbah, the Ben Ish Chai says, is the culmination. It's not just the Ben Ish Chai, it's Chazal also. Hoshana Rabbah's Hosha, Na, save on behalf of Na. Na means please, it's a supplication, but Na is also Gematria 51. What's 51? From Rosh Chodesh Elul till Hoshana Rabbah is exactly 51 days. So the culmination of all the avodah of Elul, which is by the Sephardim, for example, the extra slichot from Rosh Chodesh, and by everybody, more tehillim, more tshuva, more tzedakah, if I did something, all the extra learning and the amiris, if it's tikkunei zohar and all the svarim that the people do, okay? Then Rosh Hashanah, where Rosh Hashanah is, if you're a tzaddik, it's la'alter l'chaim. If it's a rasha, la'alter l'mavet. If it's a beinonin, he's given until Yom Kippur. But all of them were given until when it's called the ptakim are issued. The ptakim, when the actual Beit Din Shamala issues now officially, okay, let it go and be done. That's on Hoshana Rabbah. So the minhag on Hoshana Rabbah, people wear the kittel, extra davening, Hoshanot Hakafot 7 times, up all night saying Tehillim, saying Mishnah Torah, and it's a day of trepidation in a sense, okay? So Hoshana Rabbah is a day of sealing off, and we began already from Rosh Chodesh Elul. And then on the night of Simchat Torah, the Hasidic Svarim say, when you finish Hashem Elokechem Emet of the Kriyat Shema of Mariv, and as soon as you say Ve'emunah, that's when your Parnasa for the whole year is already declared on that. So the night of Simchat Torah, Hoshana Rabbah, that's when the year technically is like the beginning point is after that. The year starts technically on the morning, the day of Simchas Torah. We start off the year of a boom of Simcha. On the night also there's Simcha, there's dancing, but the day part is the technical, now the beginning point, okay? So what's interesting is on a day that's supposed to be one of the happiest days on the year, Rebbe Nachman, he once told his disciple Rav Nosson, did you dance the Simchas Torah? Did you feel the Simcha of dancing? And he said about himself, I was so happy this year in Simchas Torah. Rebbe Nachman said about himself that I even danced by myself in my room. I was dancing. So Rav Nosson says, if you think about it, it's true that the Simcha that we dance on Simchas Torah is the Simcha of Yiddishkeit, that we appreciate that we have a value. As a Yid, we have an eternal value. As opposed to people who live for Olam Hazeh, that's all dead end, it's all empty, has no value in itself. As Yidin, where we connect this world to a true purpose, which is Olam HaEmet, Olam Haba, everything has value, everything is amazing. And for that, it's Ra'u, it's fitting that a Yid is B'Simcha. And he said, that's the idea of being happy on Simchas Torah. I'm dancing with the Torah, that I have such an amazing chelik in this part of creation. Hashem has made me a part in the purpose of creation. I want to be happy about. So it's a day of great simcha. And instead of the simcha this year, v'nafochu, extreme pain, extreme misery that happened. People found out already. We, for example, in Mea Sharim, we daven Netz, and we were dancing so loud We didn't hear the sirens. We didn't even hear the sirens. We didn't hear the missiles. We didn't hear anything because we were dancing a lot. There were sirens. People woke up with the sirens, whatever. But we heard nothing. And afterwards, this and that, the Zaka guy got information, etc. Everyone heard from if it's the Goyish police officer or whatever, the word got out on already Shabbos or Sunday, okay? So first point, that the Simchas Torah was dented, okay? Number two, the first thing we heard about, the first thing that got the people were those teenagers, those poor teenagers, 3,000 at this concert. Most of them, Tinokot Shenishba, born not from, never knowing what true simcha is, and because they're looking for simcha in another format, if it's drugs, chas v'shalom, if it's a concert, whatever, and also those who were born from and fell off, there were a lot of those there also, Shem Rachem. Also, they never had true simcha. All the Yiddishkeit was always do this, do that, whatever, and it was a tough attitude, which causes many people who were brought up even from to fall off because there's no simcha, there's no ahava in the kesh of the Yiddishkeit. So why should they stay? Like Rashi says, someone who serves out of yirah, you push him a little, he's boyet. He says, I don't need this. If now it's just toughness and rigidness and pain and suffering, we can't handle this. We look elsewhere, chas v'shalom. Number three, what happened? The hostages, something crazy. When leaving Eretz Yisrael now from Natbag to New York, so the airport is like very empty. And the ramp, the famous ramp for departures and arrivals, right? So the ramp going to departures, they filled literally the whole walkway with the pictures of the hostages. So how could you not cry? Everyone was like sad. You're walking and you see all the faces, so you're for sure broken, right? Okay. So the hostages. Now in Parshat Kitavo with the 98 klalot, forgive me if I don't remember the exact lashon, but you have there from the klalot, Banecha uvnotecha. Right, Bashivi, exact the pasuk, please, Mechiv Mocha, if I don't remember the exact lesson. But hostages are taken as a klalot in the 98 klalot. Now, in Parshat Kitavo, when it says the klalot, it says, why will this happen to you? Tachat asher lo avat Hashem elokecha besimcha. Again, simcha. It doesn't say you're getting punished because you didn't serve Hashem, period. It says because you didn't serve Hashem besimcha. When the Litvaks ask mitzvah gedola besimcha, where Rebbe Nachman, what does it say? It's a big mitzvah to be besimcha. We can't target mitzvahs. I don't see not once that it say mitzvah gedola to be besimcha. So he's medaik in his lashon mitzvah gedola. You have stam mitzvot which are very big. There's Taryag 613 stam mitzvot, but a mitzvah gedola is like a cup containing all the other ones, which is hinted to in Parashat Kitavo. Tachat asher lo avat Hashem elokecha besimcha. That's the cup for all the other Taryag mitzvot. It's a mitzvah gdola, okay? Fine. From this, you can piece together what happened, why it happened, if you want to say, or at least, if I don't know why, what I'm supposed to do now. What's the message that I'm supposed to pick up? To be atzvis, to be sad, for sure there's no mitzvah at all. He explains with Nosen that the essence of galut is atzvut. And the goyim, when they want to attack the Yidden, the one thing they have in mind is to bring them down. A stupid Arab who takes the Facebook of the lady and in front of her grandchildren, they're killing the grandmother, Shem Rachem, right? They're doing atrocities. So they want them to see. Why? Why do they want to inflict the pain? To make them worried and sad. That's the whole thing. The goal of why the Nazis also, they tried to, it wasn't just to kill the Yidden, but to make them feel miserable, to bring down their morale, right? To give them a number, they're not a human being anymore, to break them. Why to break them morally? Not just to kill them, in order to bring them to Atzvut. Because the essence of Galut and the Goyim in Galut is Atzvut. And us as Yidden, our essence is Simcha. So therefore, when being attacked and what happened this year pulled the rug under everybody's feet. It came so unexpected, but the thing is, how fast you get back up, number one, and using what happened to push you forward in simcha. We're not talking about, okay, forget about it, like we'll continue as if nothing happened. No, we're not continuing as if nothing happened. We're continuing because of what happened. I'm continuing now even stronger now. You want to break me? You're not going to break me. We're going to go forward now. When what? Dafka simcha, okay? So if you want, this is one of the ways to look in a positive vein, what happened, how to use it. Now, of course, we're davening more. There's more concern and everything, but worry has no place at all. And sadness for sure has no place at all. Especially as Rav Nosson says something amazing. He says one of the ultimate levels of simcha of a yid is that we're able to look at the ultimate future. Meaning, if now, through everything that's happening in your life, you know that in the end, if you know and you believe that in the end everything's going to work out, this film of 6,000 years, I mean maximum 6,000 years, from the time of creation until the final end of this leg of the creation, 6,000 years. If you know that in the end there's going to be Tchat HaMetim, there's going to be Sachar and Onesh at the ultimate level, and all the good that people suffered for and everything will be rewarded, right? Those who suffered in toiling for serving Hashem will come back, will reap the profits. If everything's going to work out in the end, so why are you crying now? Why are you so broken now? The person, his lifespan, maximum 120 years, maximum. In the film, a reel of 6,000 years. It's like a little million, a second of a second on this film of 6,000 years, okay? If what you're going through now, you connect it to the ultimate future, okay? Then you have a nechama. You have a nechama. But when you look at things just now, the present, for sure it hurts. Oh, he's going through chas v'shalom, a difficulty in marriage or children problems or health issues and this. When you look at it in itself, it hurts. But when you look at it in vain, that everything's going to work out. Just from now to there, that's the how to get there, but it's going to happen. And you just need an emunah and bitachon that it's going to happen. So be'emet, you have nothing to really worry about. Because you know ultimately it's going to work out. There's a story I tell over again and again and again. And it's an amazing story. I heard it from someone who heard it from this lady. There was a lady who went through Auschwitz with her daughter. And they survived the whole thing together from beginning to end, which is very rare. The chances of that happening is very rare. And she was a frum lady. They asked her, how did this happen? What was the secret here? So she said, as soon as she arrived in Auschwitz, she started cracking up. She started laughing. You know, you see the chimneys of the burning of the bodies, and everyone's in a miserable setup and every setting. What are you cracking up? So she said that the Nazis didn't touch her. They thought she was like, you know, hooji booji. They were scared to deal with her when they saw that she's cracking up. This lady, what's going on? She was laughing and laughing and laughing. So they didn't touch her. They left her there, but they didn't touch her. They didn't do anything bad, not necessarily. And then they asked her, and why did you laugh? What are you laughing at? You see people dying and this and that. She was laughing because it's so obvious that these idiots are going to pay for it. It's so obvious that Hitler, and all these you're doing bad, and you think you're going to get away with it. You have to be stupid. You have to be mamash an idiot to think that you're going to do wrong and it's going to work out. Come on. You're going to pay it for. I'm not going to pay for it. You're going to pay the price. So it's a laugh. We have the last laugh. So she said that's why she was laughing. And that's how a yid, behemet, what he's going through, when a person is going through major crazy things in life, his nechama, one of the greatest nechamas, Rav Nosson says, is this technique of training your mind to connect to the future. That you know in the end, like in a way you do a type of a bitul. Hashem, I'm all yours. I'm letting go. Guide me, and I know that it's going to work out. I'm in your hands. With that attitude, you can draw a nechama from the future into the present. That's one of the reasons why it's called the Geula Shlema. What do you mean Geula Shlema? It's so shalom, like candles. You know, you have a candle. You can light with one candle another 100,000 candles, and the light is not diminished. So too, the Geula Shlema is so shalem that it has power to shoot even personal redemptions to the present. This Rebbe Nachman teaches one of his lessons, lesson 250, that when Hashem wants to save a person, whatever he needs salvation in, he sends him a Yeshua from the future, from the ultimate Geula into the present. That's how we connect with Hashem. So this just in a nutshell of a different perspective, a breast of a perspective of what happens, what's happening now, and what we can do to fix the situation, to work on an improvement. What was the message? It's pretty obvious. Simcha Torah, the simcha they were looking for, the hostages were tachat Hashem lo avat Hashem b'simcha. So there is a kind of remez, if you like to say, that simcha here is what has to be focused on. Okay, this is one thing I wanted to start off with, B'ezrat Hashem. Now the main topic of the class, B'ezrat Hashem. The Torah, as we know it, is divided in 4 sections: Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. Okay, Pshat, as we know, Pshat is the Torah Shebe'al Peh, Torah Shebechtav, all the basic laws of the Torah, all the understanding of the Pshat, all the Sfarim that are on Rishonim, Achronim, to open up Shulchan Aruch and Gemara, which is the main learning of Torah, basically, that takes up the most space of Torah study, is the Pshat. Remez, Remazim, that you see an indication of a connection of points, but it's not 100% revealed, but it's out there and you can see it. That's Remez. Drash, a Darshan, where he tries to dig deep in the Torah to bring out something that's hidden there, an idea, a moralistic idea that's hidden there, but it has to be dug open to bring it out. That's the idea of Drash. And Sod, the secrets of the Kabbalah, which deal with the secrets of the creation, which is like a big, vast picture. It's like heavy, bulky. It's a big bulk and heavy in mass. That's the idea of Sod. Okay? So in the Kabbalah, they say that these 4 levels of the Torah are hinted to in the 4 letters of Hashem's name, Yud Ke Vav Ke, with Yud being the highest level of Sod. The first Hey is the Drash, Vav is the Remez, and the Hey, the last Hey, which is closest to this world, is the Pshat. Okay? They also say in Sfarim that the 4 Galuyot of Am Yisrael, the Galut of Mitzrayim, the Galut of Bavel, Yavan, and now Edom, also correspond to the 4 levels of the Torah. What does that mean? That means, for example, Mitzrayim, where the Yidden were going through Meitzar, there was a tightness, and Torah was needed. A light of Torah was needed to get the Yidden out, which was the eventual Har Sinai Kabbalat Torah. The Yidden back then, in the time of Mitzrayim, were at such a high level that the Pshat was enough to give them chayut and strength to combat the difficulties of the Galut of Mitzrayim, the Lashon of Meitzar, of being tight and squeezed. The Pshat was strong enough, even though only Pshat, it's strong enough to give chayut and consolation and koach to go on. Fine. Bavel, which is from Lashon, like Rashi says, it's bilbul, bilbel et hakol. Rashi, if you remember, Parashat Noach, why is it called Bavel? Bilbel et hakol, okay? Balal et hakol. Rashi says Bavel, one of the roots of Bavel is bilbul, which means a confusion in the mind. So the next stage of Galut was severe. In other words, there's levels. The levels of the Arba Galuyot was in order to reveal a greater depth that was always there in the Torah, but now to bring it out, Lemaise. So the second Galut of Bavel, which caused a bilbul, a confusion, taking the Yidden, kicking them out of Eretz Yisrael. It was enough that they came from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael, but now going out, and Nebuchadnezzar, who mixed up the whole world, Bilbel, okay? So what was needed was the second level of the Torah to give chayut and chizuk to the Yidden. That was the idea of Remez. Where the Pshat now wasn't enough to give him koach, proof being that the sins of the Yidden in the first Galut of Mitzrayim, which is up to the Chorban Bayit Rishon, it wasn't enough to help them to keep the Bayit Rishon. In other words, they were falling in Averot. They're falling from their level, which caused the Chorban and the Galut. So that meaning another depth of Torah was needed to enhance the Yiddishkeit of the Jews in the second Galut, and that's the level of Remez. Yavan, which is connected to Bir Chanukah coming up. Yavan is milashon Yeven Metzula, quicksand. That you're standing in a spot. It's like Mitzrayim where they're squeezing you. You're in one spot, but you're sinking. Help! You're sinking, and you have a panic here. Okay, meaning that as strong as the Torah revelation of Pshat and Remez is, and it was enough for those generations of Yidden to handle, by Yavan, Drash was needed, which in fact, the time of the Midrashim is from the time of it started from the time of the Yevanim. After the Yevanim and the Galut Edom, that's the beginning of the Chidushim of the Drash, of the Midrashim, where Drash now is giving a ethical, moral perspective, but strong, that digging in to bring it out. That's the Galut of Yavan. And now finally, this last Galut of Edom. Edom on one hand means red, but also Edom has the same grammatical shorish as medame, koach medame, which means the faculty of the imagination is distorted, as opposed to Bavel, which is a bilbul, which is confusion. Here in medame, where the imagination shows things as they not really are. Oh my God, he's going to kill me! Like something like no one's going to touch you, but you feel there's an enemy here, there's an enemy there, and a person creates scenarios that are not actually there, this is the galut of Edom. They say in scientific world that the most comfortable color is green, and the most panicky color is red, Edom, okay? To combat the level of Edom is Sod, which is why the revelation of the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, took place in this final galut of Edom. The Arizal, with revelations of the Kabbalah, is in this final stretch of Edom. Okay, fine. However, there's a fifth level of the Torah, the highest level. The Zohar calls this the level of the Keter. And this is the Keter is at the end of the galut of Edom, when now the Yidden have been exhausted and drained after 4 galuyot, and even with the big revelations of the Kabbalah, still Yidden have fallen. And now, for example, these past 250 years, where we see that the majority of Am Yisrael are totally detached. There's assimilation. The majority of Jews don't even know what Kriyat Shema is, what is to say a bracha. Nothing. Empty. We're still far. There's many Jews who are from now, Baruch Hashem, it's growing. But the makkah that we've been hit with these past 250 years, they say like this, that the Midrash says that when Esav, last week's parsha, Yikrevu Yemei Evel Avi, let my father Yitzchak Avinu pass away, and then I'll go and kill Yaakov, right? So the Midrash says that Paro said about Esav, you're stupid, you're an idiot. You wait, you say I'm going to wait for my father to pass on, and then I'm going to go and kill Yaakov. But in the meantime, Yaakov becomes 12 tribes. There's a family, there's mishpacha, there's grandchildren. You have more work to do. So Pharaoh said, I'm not going to wait. He told the midwives, right? You see when the woman's giving birth, if it's a boy, if it's a daughter, keep her alive. If it's a son, right? So then Haman comes along and he says about Paro, you're stupid. You kill only the boys. What, a girl is not a Jew? A Jewish woman who has children, even from a goy, they're not Jewish? Of course they're Jewish. What does it help your decree, Pharaoh, to kill only the boys? How about the girls? Me, Haman said, I'm going to kill everybody. The men, the women, the children. Okay? And it didn't work. So Gog comes along and Gog says, Haman, you're stupid. You think by attacking the physical corpses of the bodies of the Yidden, you can do away with them? So long as they're connected for core to Avim Shabbat with Hashem, you can't do away with them. What am I going to do? I'm going to sever the connection between Am Yisrael and Hashem, and then I can do away with them. So the Midrash finishes off that Hashem says to Gog, you want to fight against me? You want to separate? No problem. Come to Eretz Yisrael. And that's what it says. Gog will come to Eretz Yisrael. And here he suffers his downfall. What's interesting from the Midrash is that Gog, which is probably Google, Gog is Google today, okay? Gog, the attack of Gog is on the religion itself. Even though Yavan also was on the religion, no Shabbos, no Brit Milah, but still the Yidden were holding on to their Yesodot of Yiddishkeit, even with the Greeks and everything. But Gog, he's going into the mind of the Jew to convince him that Yiddishkeit doesn't have to be this way, you can change it and alter it and then sever it totally, okay? Based on this, Rav Nosson received from Rebbe Nachman what's called Megillat Setarim. These are secrets he revealed. Rebbe Nachman revealed to 2 people only, Rav Nosson and Naftali, what's going to happen until Mashiach comes. And he told him only 2 people per generation are allowed to know about this. So meaning, of you 2, whoever passes on first, the second one can reveal to somebody else. That's what happened. Rav Nosson passed away in 1844. Rav Naftali, who lived an extra 20 years later, he revealed it to another chassid. His name was Rav Aaron Lipovetsker. And then when Rav Naftali passed away, this Aaron Lipovetsker revealed it to another chassid, Avram Rebbe Nachman. Avram Rebbe Nachman is the only one who, to remember these things, he wrote it down for himself in Rashi Prakim, so you shouldn't forget the details, because there are many details in this Megillat Setarim, okay? And today, nobody knows who has it. He passed away in 1917, Rav Avram Rebbe Nachman, and he was very good in keeping the secret. He knew how to keep his mouth quiet. So no one knows if he revealed it, who, and if even. We don't even know. So today, no one knows what happened to it. There's copies of this manuscript, but no one understands what's written on it. Some professor in Yerushalayim, he tried to make a book opening it up, but it's all just theoretical. No one knows. However, Rav Nosson did say something about this. Rav Nosson said that in this Megillat Setarim, The Rebbe Nachman didn't mention anything about the war of Gog and Magog. So he said he understood that we're already in the middle of the war of Gog and Magog, with the beginning of the reform movement, the Maskilim, the enlightened movement, where now there's an attack on Yiddishkeit itself. You know, the founders of reform, Mendelssohn and this guy Naftali Hertzog, these people were big shots. They were. I'm not going to say it, but they were Talmidei Chachamim, but in a negative sense. They knew Shas. They were the top Lamdanim in their time, but they used the Torah to prove against it. There's nothing more dangerous. Bringing rayas from the Torah, why not to follow the Torah? Why, yes, assimilation is good, to be Morah Bagoim. It's scary when you have someone who knows the ideas, and then to use that to go against, that was really bad, okay? So we're in Gog and Magog already. To think, oh my God, there's going to be Armageddon, and there's going to be war and blood. We have a Kabbalah from the Psukim and Nevi'im that Mashiach will come through Simcha. Ki besimcha tetzeu. Right? The pasuk says ki besimcha tetzeu, which the translation is normally that when Mashiach comes, when there'll be the Geula, besimcha. It's going to happen with Simcha. But Rav Nosson says, don't read it with Simcha, read it besimcha, through Simcha tetzeu. There'll be such a Simcha by the Goyim. As yomu bagoyim, higdel Hashem lasot imele, higdel Hashem lasot imanu. The Goyim will say about themselves, Hayinu smechim. The Goyim are going to be happy. With such an abundance of Simcha, they're going to bring by hand every Yid back to Eretz Yisrael. So what we're seeing of war and battle, that's not yet the sign of Mashiach. Sign of Mashiach will be immense Simcha. Simcha tetzeu. That's a prerequisite, Bezat Hashem. But going back to what we're saying before, the matzav that we're in now is very hard. That even pshat, remez, drash, sod is not enough. You have pockets of yidden here and there. You have koilelim, yeshivas, batei midrashim. You have some gachelet, some fire. But how about everybody else? What, they can go rot chas v'shalom? The yidden who are not religious, shalom alay nafshi, I'm doing something. It's with my aspiration that my Torah and mitzvah will influence them. But in the meantime, it's not moving. There are yidden that the ratio is very far. It's not moving in ratio that if my Torah and mitzvah is to affect them because of our arevut, but I don't see it moving. What's going on? So the Zohar talks about this fifth level of the Torah, which we said earlier, the 4 levels are hinted in Yud Kei Vav Kei. A sofer, when he writes the Yud of Yud Kei Vav Kei, he has to make a kot, it's called Kotza Deot Yud. When a sofer makes a Yud, so there's the roof of the Yud, and then it goes down, right? Under the roof, the beginning point of the roof has to make a little line down. It's called Kotza Deot Yud. You can't make it too long, because then the ot will look like a chet, and that's a problem. But it's little tiny kots going down from the roof of the Yud. This, the Zohar says, is the 5th level of the Torah. It's called the level of the Keter. What is this the idea of the Keter? This Keter accesses the highest level of existence. It's called the Ein Sof, Hashem himself. There's a level of Torah which is kept by Hashem himself. This is the level of Ein Sof. To explain all this better is the opening of Midrash Rabbah. Midrash Rabbah, which is an amazing sefer, by the way. The Sfarim that say like this: the Zohar was opened by the Arizal. The Arizal opened up the secrets of the Zohar. And how about the secrets in the Midrash? So they say Mashiach is the one who's going to open up the secrets in the Midrash. You hear that? Midrash, in a sense, has a higher power in depth that Mashiach is the one to open up. So just going back, Midrash Rabbah, Rav Hoshaya Rabbah, author of Midrash Rabbah, who by the way is buried next to Pekin, if you're ever in Eretz Yisrael, there's a Mara called the Mara of Rabbi Hoshaya Rabbah, author of the Midrash Rabbah. So he starts off like this, in explaining the greatness of the Torah. He brings a famous pasuk from Mishlei, chapter 7, Mishlei, Va'eheye etzlo amon. The Torah, Shlomo Melech is writing in Mishlei that the Torah is saying about itself, Va'eheye etzlo amon. The Torah is saying, Hashem used me. I was eheye, I the Torah, etzlo amon. I was by Hashem amon. What's this word amon? Okay, the Midrash brings 5 explanations on this word amon. 4 similar ones, and the 5th one in a different ballgame. The 4 ones, it comes to say, are levels of the Torah showing that Hashem kept this by him. So the Midrash says like this: first level of amon is called pedagog. We'll go into this. Second one is called mechuseh, third one mutzna, and the fourth one is called rabeta. So the Midrash goes to prove from Psukim, showing a similarity. For example, by Moshe Rabbeinu, we're in Parashat Baalotcha, where the Jews are asking for meat. We want meat. Mi achelenu basar. All we have is manna in the morning, manna in the evening. Everything's manna, manna, manna. We want meat. We miss the meat. Okay. So then Moshe Rabbeinu is complaining to Hashem. What do you want me to do? And if you ask me, Hashem, why am I complaining? Because you tell me to lead the Jews. Ka'asher yisa omen et hayonek. So the Midrash says, Omen means what? What did he say? You're asking me, if you're asking me why am I complaining, me Moshe Rabbeinu, because Hashem, you're telling me to carry the Jews like a nursing mother takes care of the baby. Okay? So that